Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome back. We are now finally into the WEL6. I am MadDante, and I am joined by the ever lovely.
Oh, it's Judas today. It's JudasPriestley as well. I'm very happy to be in here. First time going to be casting Overwatch 2 for Esports Wales, so very, very excited to be here. But more excited for the games we've got on today because, like you said, we're back, new season, fresh start, and of course coming into this season after last season, which was the first time we had a new champion for the season. Oh, yes. Absolutely plenty to play for this time.
No, absolutely. So, it used to be the artist just kind of WEL was their canvas is probably the easiest way to say it for a while. There was a little bit of a changeover then, and then it was actually the Puffins that ended up taking WEL5, which we imagine we will be seeing possibly later today. We'll kind of tease that for you as now. That will not be the first game. But for the meantime, just want to say as well, in terms of the season, it will be a little bit shorter. We are doing just a bit of a shorter run just due to sign-ups and such, so just as a heads up for that. If anything, surely it means smaller teams, higher quality games, right? That's what we're going for, surely.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a lot closer, like we said, the artists were kind of dominating through all these different seasons, and now they've actually not signed up this time around, so it is anyone's game. Like you said, we did have the Puffins win out last time, but we've got still the Puffins back, hoping to maybe defend their title. Also have a new team with the Knights coming through as well, a sort of new roster, just showing up for this season. And, they might surprise everyone. Actually, I think one of the teams we'll be seeing in this first game too. So definitely lots to keep an eye out for. Like you said, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be probably, at least we're expecting, closer games due to having a smaller group. And all these teams are going to play each other, probably once, if not twice. So definitely every game matters, especially when it comes to, feeling out the opposition a little bit.
No, exactly. And one of the things that we're going to be saying as well, as you said, beautifully, with a lot of the teams kind of playing each other twice, there's going to be rivalries, which is going to be much more interesting. And there's also Overwatch 2 is quite in a position right now. It's kind of always been, but I'd say even now with Juno and things coming through, we are starting to see a little bit more individuality in how the teams play. Like we are seeing dives, obviously dive and your kind of control comps and stuff. They always still exist, but we are starting to see a little bit more freedom in terms of how teams actually do compose themselves. As I said, with Juno, with Venture, with Alari, there's kind of a lot more cheekier things that can be done. So I think more than ever, and again with smaller teams or with a smaller sample size of teams, definitely learn your matchups.
Yeah, definitely. Matchups have always been, the key part of Overwatch as a whole. That's the whole reason you can swap characters. Part way through. It's all about your hero matchups. But sometimes, especially like you say, when there's a lot more individuality coming through, especially with 5v5 Overwatch as well, it definitely means that what you do as an individual matters a lot more. And that's why I've been such a big fan of Alari. From support, you could just literally blow up the entire enemy team, and something that we really didn't see a lot before. And now, like you said, there's been some changes coming through. Everything's going to be a little bit different, and it's nice to see even supports getting the chance to make things happen, and actually have like you say, individual impact too. And as we've discussed, when the games are so close, those individual matchups, those one-time plays that you maybe only get the opportunity to do once ever, it'll make a big difference. That could be make or break, especially throughout all of this. So really excited to see not just the teams, but who of the players can actually make themselves stand out today.
No, I think so, and we are going to be seeing. So just to quickly jump back, it is going to be Knights versus Rhonda Rising for our first game. We are still waiting on a few just kind of change ups and things in the background, so production will let us know if there is a game 2 going. If there is, that will be Wolfhounds versus Puffins, but scheduling and things may just get in the way. So at the moment, that is I guess kind of a surprise for everyone if it does go ahead. If it doesn't, we will get to see them again. I'm absolutely certain. All to kind of look forward to. The kind of standard operating procedure just as goes. So we'll be starting off hybrid, then jump into I always say hybrid first. I always say hybrid when I mean control. Control, hybrid, escort, push, and then finally escalation should we get there. First to 3, not best of 5. We have had this debate before. They're very slightly different on how that works, but first to 3, not best of 5.
Yeah, first to three, like you say, it can always make a difference because, of course, you can draw in Overwatch.
Yes.
You know, a bit of a unique situation. It looks like we are actually getting into the game. It looks like the first map is Busan. So very excited to see who comes out on top in this. Busan, of course, to me, it feels like a new map. You know, I'm old school with Overwatch. But this has been around for a while now, you know, and I always like how, you know, with the way that these players adapt to these maps and how they adjust to things. And like you always figure out new ways of playing it, new ways of adjusting to the map. But the thing about Busan is it's very, very straight and simple. Everyone just shows up in this big pit, but there's lots of these little nooks and rooftops and everything. It's always a really fun map to watch.
No, I think, and to be honest, Busan is you know, going back to like the individuality and things. There's quite a lot you can do with Busan, and we are already seeing pretty different picks here from the things we've got. Pretty typical, I'd say, dive from the Knights coming out. Meanwhile, it's a little bit tankier or a little bit more trash damagey as well, coming from the Orisa side for the Rhonda Rising. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how it works out. Sombra from DQ. Dorklings is phenomenal. Love the name. The Sombra from Dorklings we'll have to wait and see because, again, Sombra's been changed around quite a little bit. Seems like they've just been caught. Yeah, that's going to be a first pick for Crimson.
Yep. Yeah, and interesting to note, 2 Junos in this game, one on each side. We weren't sure if we were going to see it, but yeah, seeing it we shall. But of course, both teams make their way on to this point. Not even unlocked yet, but everyone wants to brawl. Tank's getting quite low, and it looks like, in fact, Knights getting a very good early start, taking up quite a few members. And look at that, already blown through the enemy team, get the point as well. What a great start for the Knights.
No, very impressive stuff. Vic just Vic singling out the Dorklings just as fast as they had done there. This getting rid of that Sombra, you know, you've lost the hack, you've lost the EMP. At that point, you know, it's already kind of been and done to push that advantage the way they had. Very clean, the percentage already racking up. Oh, that damage already racking up as well. Nearly taking out Dismarny. Meanwhile, Witty Weave though over in the background is going to put down Maddie and keep this advantage going.
Yeah, still trying to just wrest any kind of control now. I'll run the Rising, but just not able to. You know, you do see Wait here on the Roadhog, clearly just looking to get someone and maybe trying to window into this game. But, you know, just the pressure coming out from Run the Rising. They've taken control of this rooftop. There is not a whole lot that you know, Run the Rising can do about this so far. Finally, we see the chase down coming into it, but look, you've got the long-range healing coming out. So there's only 2 of them up there. There's only 2 of them up there, Dante, but there's just nothing that they can do about it.
Yeah, it's quite it's wild as well looking at the comps because Rhonda very much kind of tried to adapt to Vic's Winston. They very much analysed, you know, how quickly Vic's able to separate it. But now you've got a Roadhog and a Reaper that can't really reach Vic, and you've got Witty and Crimson killing everyone as they try to reach Vic.
Oh, this is crazy already. What a fantastic statement to start. But yeah, it looks like instead, Run the Right and take the low ground, try to find their angle in, but that's where Vic is the strongest. Look at this, getting on top of Eevee already, and yeah, taken out. And now you just have 1 Roadhog on a point and not going to get anything done. 80% in as many seconds as well. Feels like Run the Rising need to, well, really rethink this.
They do just a little bit. We're seeing just a couple swaps over. We've now got weight onto the Zarya, so the Hog obviously wasn't quite there. But to be honest, it just does feel like Rhonda are really struggling to kind of answer the challenge that the Knights have set up. And to be honest, to the Knights, they have been playing an incredibly just cohesive you know, first round there. Everything was very together, very organized, very structured. Rhonda did lose out on the shield, obviously kind of swapped the Zarya at the end, but for the most part, nothing to protect you against Ashe. And Weeb was not missing.
Yeah. when you've got an Ashe, like you said, in such a comfortable position on that rooftop, you've got a Winston to protect anyone you know, who gets close to you, and like we saw, you know, Rhonda were trying to deal with Vic, but you know, when you got Witty Weave just literally blasting off, and clearly had a good time picking up the Ashe again. Not really any surprises there, but yeah, definitely Run the Rising wanted to get off to a much more controlled start. Right, they gave up an early pick, and then just kind of collapsed from there. And you don't really want to see that again. You know, you want to at least get a bit more control. They're going in this time with the Symmetra, you know, teleporting forward on the Knights, and it's a big change up for them. It's just a case of can Rhonda deal with it a little bit better this time.
We're going to have to see. The Knights kind of changing over, like almost going for, it's not Death Ball, but if I see Ryan, I'm just obligated to say Death Ball because I miss Death Ball. But going for a bit more kind of, yeah, this control, this spot. They've already taken the midpoint. One thing do just want to jump back is the first point in Busan is probably one of the toughest chokeholds to push through in the game. So by all means, just because the Rhonda Rising weren't able to adapt at that moment doesn't mean they're not going to be able to this time. But look at that, Medic just dropping Rhonda.
That's not usual for a Zenyatta, but that's what we said we wanted to see. These supports making big plays. A huge team kill. But Knights already, they don't even have the point. They just step past it, so we don't care about the objective. We just want to get some kills on the score. But they still don't have the point.
Have they forgotten?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure they know what they're fighting for.
There we go. No.
They want to fight him. Someone's standing. Here we go. They figured it out. They're having too much fun to win.
I just want this game to go longer, I think, is really the only answer there. Rhonda Rising now basically swapping over to kind of mirror this comp. We will have to see, because the Knights, I mean, they already do look so comfortable with it on that first initial pick, but if Rhonda can adapt and maybe, beat this mirror match, then all of a sudden they can find their space, but they got to do it soon.
Yeah, definitely have to do it quite soon. Like, they have been gifted a little bit of time here, Rhonda, because of that delay on actually capturing the point. Shatter does come out, but it doesn't really matter. Already now, taken through the tanks, have Rhonda Rising, so need just get onto the point, but not quite like that, Eevee. And Medic having a fantastic time on this Zenyatta. Just, it seems like the long-range skill shots way in favor of the Knight so far.
No, it really is, and Zenyatta is a very terrifying hero, and he always has been, because the possibility for that sudden kind of damage is there with like some of the DPS, in terms of it. Like, that right click is still terrifying. The Discord Orb still one of the strongest pieces of utility, I'd say, arguably in the game. Man. Never mind Fire Strike coming in to make a really solid argument, or Vic making a really solid case for the Fire Strike, is again Medic just drops down to Orklings and suddenly 60%, no real space taken for Rhonda.
All of this long-range fighting just so in favor of Knights, but then Crimson just gets on top of the enemies and just running through them. It's basically on their own at the moment, but finally, again, seeing some adjustments, have the Bastion now to really deal with this Reinhardt, but being dealt with themselves by Witty Weeb, and, we're seeing a very staggered set of kills there. Rhonda Rising. I don't know, man. I don't know. They need to figure out something different, or maybe this is just not their map today.
Maybe that's the thing. Control can very much be, a very kind of swingy game mode. So it's not necessarily indicative of how the rest of this is going to go. The Bob comes down, the control's there. Maddie falls to Crimson. The Transcendence is popped, essentially just to make a statement, and the first map goes to the Knights very, very convincingly.
Well, that's, like we said, Knights new to the scene, to specifically the Welsh Esports League, and what a statement way to start the game. But it's not about just the game, and of course we do get to see how Medic was doing on this Zenyatta. It was a fantastic triple kill, I believe, if there weren't even any more than that. You just see, look at the space. Once that shield is gone, all of a sudden so much space for Medic to just start firing off. Ran through them. Medic picking up the majority of the kills there. Fantastic play for them. Like we said, individual support plays coming up big there, but that was a huge team performance from the Knights.
No, it was, and that, to be honest, I do want to, because I'm pretty sure we named out every single person in Knights apart from Fermi. I do just want to bring up mainly just because if you're not bringing up the support for anything like that, particularly the Lucio, means you're doing your job. It's like cleaners in bathrooms. If you don't need to bring up the cleaners in bathrooms, they're doing a good job. And that's very much what was being done there. So an incredibly solid, cohesive performance there. We'll have to see how Rhonda now do back that up as we jump on into hybrid. So initially starts off same as control. So obviously trying to cap that first point to then get the payload moving. So Rhonda, what do you got for us?
Yeah, definitely need to try things a little bit differently. Like I said, they just seem to be getting outmatched in that sort of long range. Like we saw on the Ash, just firing off constantly there. If Witty Weave's allowed to do that again, I can see it going pretty much one way. But like you said, the maps being, this is why we play multiple different map types, right?
Yep.
Control. All about that singular point, and if you can establish like a sort of forward line. And you establish at these choke points like they did both maps there, you can dominate like this. But hybrid's much different. You can't just establish a line and hold it, right? You have to be constantly mobile, and this will give more opportunities for Rhonda Rising to find those angles that they were looking for. You could see what they were trying to do. It's very organized ways of trying to rethink their position, try to engage at a different angle. So definitely the right way to be doing it. just didn't work out that time. You could put that game behind you. Like we said, it's first to 3. The first game, you say, all right, that one's out of the way. We're warmed up now. We're ready to play. And yeah, just hopefully for them, for Rhonda, hybrid map goes a little bit differently for them.
No, and we'll have to wait and see exactly what the hybrid map is. It's probably King's Row, maybe, do you think? Or we'll get something a little bit spicier.
I've seen a lot of Iconwald lately.
We have seen a lot of Iconwald.
A bit of an Esports Wales favourite. So yeah, wouldn't shock me too much if that's what we see. But yeah, everyone's pretty fun. Oh yeah, still also have Hollywood. Of course, I'm a big fan of Hollywood. Do love that map too. But anything that has these choke points, you would imagine that is what the Knights are looking for because they establish them so well. And I think Brother Rising specifically want to avoid as many choke points as possible.
They're going for kind of wider stuff. You're looking maybe, they're wanting kind of the more open scenes, which to be fair, once you kind of break through on Hollywood, there is a bit more of that kind of open scenery. And
yes.
Like point 1 to point 2 is a little bit tight just because it's all obviously the kind of shows or the little the desert set. But once you get past that, once you get past the saloons and such into the studios, it does become a bit more open and a bit wider there. So quite a bit of space to work with. King's Row is very much just, we understand what we're doing, you understand what you're doing, let's just see who does it better. That's really all I think King's Row has came down to now for quite some time. And we have seen, just to kind of like discuss the Knights in terms of their vertical play, particularly on point 1 and Busan was so strong. So any maps with verticality, which to be honest, most hybrid maps do have quite a bit of verticality, at least in one stage. Rhonda Rising want to make sure Knights do not get near that.
Yeah, it looks like Midtown is the map that they have chosen to do here. So, we'll see how it goes for them. It definitely, like we said, hopefully they can find something that suits them a bit better and don't really get engaged into this firefight with the Knights in the in the way that they were just losing up. But maybe they do want to take that. Maybe they'll think, all right, you know what, that map, like we said, map just might not have been suitable that time around. And if you can get some of these better flanks coming through, have the ability to use the payload, utilize that mobile cover to your advantage, and that can really help break these choke points. Like a lot of times when you're establishing a choke point, you're not really concerned about the objective. You almost want to be as far away from it as possible. So yeah, definitely. Like I said, I just have a lot of hopes for Rhonda that they can utilize this map more to their strengths.
I do like just going back to the moving away from the point and not playing around the point, which was done for a good solid 20 seconds by the Knights yours truly. Let's pray for them that doesn't happen this time, because there's a bit more consequences for jumping off either the site or the payload, which I'm sure all of us, I'm sure everyone at home does not need any introductions to C9ing, nor do they wish to see it again happen today, because it would be a real shame. But we are jumping
C9
right
when it's at the start. At the start of the game, you C9 at the start. Is that like a C1?
I guess.
Because like we said, it didn't matter in the end. They got that point, but that was a solid 20 seconds. And like 20 seconds in Overwatch, quite a long time, especially when you come to retaking points like this. That's the difference between having your ultimate charged and not, especially if you're on the losing side. So as much as Knights probably thought about it. Oh wow, we forgot the point. Oh well. But again, like you said, much higher consequences now that there's no neutral state for the point, right? Someone is losing out if that point is being left open in the same way. So definitely hoping to not see a bit of that, but it is always good fun, especially with these, these sides are a little bit ragtag, just everyone's kind of, who do you know that plays Overwatch 2, and you want to play with them sort of thing. So you're not always the most organized, but that does allow for, like we see mistakes like that, but it also opens the door for much better and much more individual plays as well. But yeah, Midtown coming through. Let's see what they got. Let's see if Rhonda Rising can change it up from game 1.
No, absolutely. Midtown as well. I've quite a difficult first push to get through to actually get onto that point. The chokehold is quite severe. We've seen a lot of different choices from how people want to try and break through it. Some of them are just kind of slower, a bit a slower pace. They're just happy just to try and kind of essentially brute force their way under the tunnel. Some people we have seen, I think the Puffins especially, were quite happy with like the Lucio plays, teleport around to the left, or Lucio like Symmetra plays, teleport around to the left or just speed boost through. immediately take the fight, essentially group the defenders onto the point themselves, and then just start shooting like fish in a barrel. So there is quite probably two very specific ways to push in Midtown, and you have to, have that coordinated. If there's at all any mistakes or any kind of gap in, what type of push you want to do, how you want to do your executes, the push on Midtown especially can collapse essentially instantly.
Yeah, like you said, they do have the Symmetra. Eevee on that Symmetra wants to push forward. And there is a defensive Widowmaker coming out from Crimson. Oh, here we go. What I was talking about. Rhonda Rising find an interesting flank, and they're going to go for it, Now, like you said, with this Symmetra, I'm sure Knights are now questioning, all right, what's happening next? They surely have sniffed out this Symmetra, but it all depends on where this angle for this teleporter comes through. Everyone's crab walking their way under. Teleporter goes down, and immediately Rhonda Rising teleport to the other side. Expecting an engagement clearly, but there is not one to be had, and now point comes through, but there it's Crimson firing off of the Widowmaker right away.
That, and what an incredible effort. I want to say the attempt was flawless, crab walking was entertaining, but there was 40 seconds lost before that execute even started, and there's only 3 minutes now left, and Rhonda Rising have only had one push. In terms of ult charge, in terms of everything like that, we're now even seeing the stall coming through on Maddie. That's that's a full minute already gone for, let's face it, not very much reward.
Yeah, definitely. Not respecting the Widowmaker from Crimson there. When you're doing that sort of play with no wall set up, you almost need to be a bit quicker about it. We did see the D.Va was actually at the back of that push, and when the march comes through from Rhonda Rising, it just like you said earlier, shooting fish in a barrel from Crimson, perfectly placed, ready, and just set up for anyone who just pops through, getting two very quick headshots like that, it just shut down the entire push. And like you said, this is more than half the time almost gone. We're on the Rising already, and they have absolutely nothing to show for it. And Whitney Weeb making sure there's even less. All the healers down. Vic on their, signature Winston now for today. I say that because that's the only thing we've seen them play, and why would you change when it's going like this?
It's putting the Vic in victory, at least for the meantime, unless Rhonda can do something. Thank you. Unless Rhonda can do something absolutely incredible here, there doesn't seem to be any kind of space that they're able to make. The Knights just have this held down so well. The ults are now starting to come online. Crimson's just used the Infer vision to get a highlight on where Rhonda are next going to push. So if they try doing any cheeky crab walks again, the wall hacks will shut that down. But yeah, when you've got Crimson just sitting up there in the back line, just happy, just taking those shots. No one's trying to annoy him. There's no space being taken. And wait for it. No, not going to be the headshot, but the Dragon Blade's just going to carve through Rhonda anyway. Yeah,
just carving right through. And you've already shut down the push, right? This is already a success, and all this time being used. Look, having to retreat just back to their own base are on the Rising. Not even going to do that successfully, and Vic jumping right in all the way deep, but obviously has the Furious Monkey. Just starts swinging away. 19 HP, but not another life to work with. But is that enough space? Can Rhonda Rising use this small window now to make a push work? Oh, never mind.
No.
Dear Crimson.
And just as quickly as the dreams became nightmares.
It's horrible to play. There's like Whitney Weeb as well. Whitney Weeb and Crimson just competing now for play of the game in this first part. We see a desperation. Self-destruct comes down and gets nothing with it. Vic even just crab walking himself. I feel really bad for On the Rising. Look, they clearly got plans in their mind. There is someone on that team flipping through the playbook, desperately trying to find something that works, but it doesn't account for Crimson and Whitney Weeb just decimating their team.
It's one thing whenever.
Oh no!
And there we go. Look at that. Look at the blue. That's a full hold. That's 0 seconds.
His body falling from
and Maddie falls. That was kind of a masterclass of a hold from Knights. One thing I want to say to Rhonda is just from seeing this on again with hopefully all the teams are going to be looking back, reviewing. They're going to be going against each other again. So obviously the setups and things are going to change. We want to see some adaptations. One thing I want to see is just you said it best, Priestley, that no one was really the D.Va just wasn't the defense Mirix wasn't protecting anyone from Crimson.
Yep.
and we've seen exactly what happens in the sense that Ronda Rising essentially died in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, like that push, like we touched on at the time, it was well thought out. They'd found their flank, crab walk together. I just think maybe the choice of D.Va sort of let them down, because obviously you can't crouch walk with D.Va, so still giving away those footsteps, and I think that was recognized at one point, which is why they sort of backed off. But then if you don't have the D.Va at the front of the pack, you risk running into it was Crimson on the Widowmaker, but there are lots of heroes that could have been in that position, to just mow down a team without anything to protect them. And like I said, there is someone on Ronda Rising who's got some plays in their mind, and they really want to get this team organized and make these executes happen. And I really support that. That's exactly what I want to be seeing, especially if you might be, at a mechanical deficiency, right? If you're struggling mechanically into this team, these plays are what you need. But there needs to be a bit more practice on these, and hopefully they can put something together. Now, let's see what kind of play the Knights want to make as they, I guess this is just a crab.
Kirby's just having fun with it. Look at him go. Look at Kirby go. The schmoves are absolutely schmoving. Yeah, the Knights seem to have just a very similar vibe. Keep it quiet, get the teleporter going. They've got quite a lot of aerial control, obviously, with Crimson. Kirby going to be backing them up quite a lot. The Rhonda, we did that trick first. We know what it is. They have the information going, and the Maywall immediately comes up to stop them.
Yeah, drops a Maywall up, and there's the anti-heal grenade coming through as well, but Whitney Weave just starting where they left off, running through with the Symmetra this time. There's some good defense coming through, but Whitney Weave's just killing everybody. Oh my goodness. I think that was a 4K, and that is all you need. Map number 2, going to the Knights.
I mean, if there's ever kind of been that's not a knife, this is a knife. I think in terms of that push, I think the Knights very much went, that's not an execute, this is an execute. And again, Priestley, you brought it up, I think there was thought there, there's the Maywall, they had the info to try and stop these pushes, to try and stop any kind of, massive commit onto the site, but they were just that cohesive, and the Symmetra laser plus Mercy damage boost, I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to play with fire.
Yeah, definitely a really tough one there, especially when, there was a lot more warning for Ronda Rising. They thought about it. They're like, all right, like you said, we've seen this play. We know what's coming. They were ready for it. They were prepared, but just didn't respect the damage potential coming out, and just got kind of ran through there. But again, it's good heads up thinking play from Ronda Rising. They know what they want to do, just need to get a little bit better at executing it. And it is difficult for them. Like we said, the Knights new to the Welsh Esports League for season 6. It's kind of an unknown quantity coming in, and they look really strong. Definitely contenders, right? This isn't just, it's not like they're having an easy time of it, but that's not Ronda Rising's fault. They are playing up into a well-organized team. They're just competitively, just ripping through them. They're really tearing this team apart, and it's, good from our point of view to see that, see such a strong team. But it's now up to Ronda Rising to, we've seen them flicking through the playbook, trying to find something that works. If you can find something against a team as strong as this, then you've got potential against everyone else too. So we're moving on to Escort now. Let's see what they got.
No, let's see what they got. They have to get something. I mean, if the Knights continue this, I mean, they'll get a full push. There was a little bit of overconfidence as well from the Knights. Vic going down the way he did, that overextent with the Primal Rage. There's quite a, the Knights seem cocky. Now, maybe well-deserved right now, but if anyone is taking notes about, any kind of thing, going into your matchups against them, that is something to take into account, is the fact that the Knights do seem to get a little bit cocky, maybe a little bit overconfident, and, overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. So they will maybe have to rein that back a bit. But yeah, there'll be plenty of VOD reviews, I'm sure. I'm sure someone from Rhonda is going to be studying this all night to try and get the plays going. So just in terms of it, as you said, we are now moving on to the Escort. Just want to get it back. So Junkertown, Route 66, Rialto, and Shambali, which the Shambali Monastery has actually been a big fan favorite for the WEL.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that already. I think almost every week. Obviously, being the third game mode in the map pool, you tend to see this. Well, you do see this come up all the time, and yeah, lots of votes for Shambali Monastery. So that would be what we almost expect to see, but not necessarily as well. I'm also a big fan of Junkertown myself as well. I just love that map for the way that it changes, throughout, and I think it's one of the more creative layouts too. So I'm up for seeing plenty of different maps, but there's always everyone loves a good escort map. Even if you think all the way back to like TF2, that was the one. The payload was the game mode. It does look like it will actually be Route 66 coming through, and again, we discussed how well. Just generally how well choke points have been held by the Knights in this set so far. But we mentioned the hybrid doesn't have as many choke points. Well, it does for that first round, but escort now much less. So hopefully for Rhonda the Rising, like we said, they've inflated the egos of the Knights. They got them right where they want them now. They are ready to be tripped up, and I would love to see Rhonda the Rising put up a much stronger performance just for themselves in this game.
No, absolutely. It would be lovely to see. And Route 66, again, been here for 8 years. We're all very comfortable with Route 66. It's not really had any changes. One of a very clean, very designed map, very comfortable for every team. Quite a bit of verticality going on to point 2. So there's quite a bit there that we can see that I imagine the Knights are going to be very confident in. Rhonda Rising, obviously now going to have to step up to the plate. I do believe they can. There is clear glimpses of genius there by all means. They do just need to get it maybe a little bit tighter. They do just need to work a little bit more kind of around the tank. I mean, we did see the diva and things, but when you've got someone like Crimson who just is given the space just to kind of shut you down, that's something that I think once will be reviewed, we'll be looking back at Rhonda and we'll be seeing a clear improvement.
Yeah, definitely to find out where their opportunity can be. We see both DPS players doing just so well for the Knights as well. Like say you got Crimson firing off from long range, but then when you've got another DPS player who's just also behind you, causing so much chaos too. It's going to be very tough, obviously, as we've seen so far. But again, what you want to be finding is, even if you don't win the game from Rhonda Rising, you at least want to find something that works for you. You at least want to see where you can get these opportunities against these very strong teams and very strong DPS. But even Vic on the tank has been so strong. Maybe giving their life away a little bit cheaply in the last game. But again, if you can see an opportunity, if you can get through the tank first, does that create space onto the DPS and everything? That's what you are looking for if you're on there, and where you can find your opportunities in this game, and that's what you can bring to next week's fixtures. That's where you want to be trying to play out against everyone else. You're like, it worked against them. It worked against the Knights. Surely it can work against the Wolfhounds as well, or against the Puffins. You definitely want to find something here. So let's see how Route 66 goes for them.
No, I could not have said it better myself. There will be something, and something that is quite nice to point out, particularly again, is going to be the smaller season again, of course, just with the sign-ups and things. But one thing here that I'm hoping that Rhonda do is, even if this goes to a 3-0, which I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it were to, one thing that Rhonda can keep in their minds is, will Rhonda learn a lot more from this than the Knights do?
Yes.
The Knights, they're pretty comfortable with this. They seem to be with it, but Rhonda can realize, okay, there is quite a bit of weaknesses. There's quite a bit, and again, just even from some of the plays and things and the executes we've seen attempted, there's definitely quite a bit of dedication from the side of Rhonda, and there's definitely quite a willingness to improve. So again, I imagine this will be reviewed, looked at, but the Knights, while a hell of a showing, you don't really watch this and go, oh, well, here's where we can improve, because well, it's not flawless. It can always be improved, but
well, here we go. Stepping out from the base are the Knights, and let's see what Rhonda Rising can do here. Oh, sorry, it's actually Rhonda stepping out from the base, looking at this payload, and this is where the Knights will want to win this game, right? You want to stop this payload as early as you can. Oh, that's not how you do it, though. Kirby down early to Dorklings as well. Now, trading in this situation is beneficial to Rhonda Rising, because every little meter that you can move this point forward will benefit you in the long run. We're seeing Vic having a ton of fun swinging around right now, but is it going to pay off for them? It's been a decent start for Rhonda Rising, but they're not really getting any distance yet.
Not yet, and that's something as well. there does seem to be just a little bit of difficulty gaining this space. I mean, we had such an early pick from Dorkling, so there's beautiful shots on the Kermie. The res did immediately though then come through, and now we're right back to just sitting outside our spawn. Yeah, we are right back just being trapped there. Now Dorklings has fallen. Granted, these frags not going to be as big a deal for the Knights. Obviously, the spawn is right there. But, oh, you've got Tao seemingly pulling out the battle pistol to maybe make a statement. So, yeah, it seems again that the overconfidence that we were talking about is still very present in the Knights, it seems.
Yeah, staggering the kills as well. Like you said, not as impactful because of how close the spawn is, but it just buys you that extra few seconds as well. And Knights now trying to establish themselves very far forward. Vic, though, taking a run-up, or a roll-up, I should say, getting ready for this next engagement coming out. But again, Rhonda Rising giving some space to push this payload just that bit further. And, you know, everything they can get right now, they want to be, you know, taking advantage of. And for some reason, the Knights are giving them this little bit of space, so you know you definitely want to punish this sort of over-aggression coming out, but oh, it's just so hard when look at the way they're attacking from every angle.
Yeah, that does. It just seems to be just the Knights are just a Venus flytrap essentially. You will walk in and the jaws will just clamp shut, and now Tismarnie's going to fall again. Maddie's going to fall. Yeah, it just. Anytime there's a bit of space, and the Knights were even happy there to give up just that little bit of space, only to basically say, okay, now you're in the choke point, now you're where we want you, you know, back to the spawn room with you, you go.
Yeah, I guess having the 5-second respawn time wasn't enough. They want to increase it to 8 before they get impactful. That's how you really make a big difference here. But again, look at this coming out from Rhonda. You know, a nice play using the light fever combination with the Bastion there to find an opportunity. It's not gonna quite work out for them, but really, really good thinking. You know, this is exactly how you want to get into these games. And again, buys them a little bit of space, gets them an opportunity to push this payload just that bit further. If they can get through this first choke point, might still have more windows. And yeah, again, lots of space coming out. We see the Bastion damage going huge there onto Medic. Now they have lost Wade, but Wade did get the ultimate off, so that Tree of Life again going to create more space, push this payload even further, and Rhonda having a good, a nice little spell here.
Moment. Oh, Dorklings are not able to get. Tao's been dancing around there. Like, Evie has been furious. Finally drops Tao. Tao's been just dancing around in the sky for ages. Kermie overcommitting as well, and that looks to be the gap that that Rhonda Rising have needed.
Yeah, they've got now through the major choke points. Now just need to get onto this last little point if you can. Vic dancing with death, a bit low health, but there's still ultimates in the tank now coming up for Rhonda, and this is what you want. And again, Evie on this Bastion having a great time now, really starting to connect to these kills, and this is looking like it's going to be first point.
I know, 10 seconds left. There we go. It is going to get tagged. The looks to be that Rhonda are going to start falling now, but doesn't matter. The spawns have flipped yet again. The advantage back onto them. Tao with the battle pistol. There is some confidence here, and we've seen it. We've seen it. The Knights fall to their own confidence. They've fallen on their lance a few times just from that overconfidence, and it can easily happen again. So we will just have to wait and see if Rhonda can continue. It was pretty close, obviously. We did get to overtime, even if it was just for like a split second. But yeah, they managed to get it. They found the gap in the defense of the Knights. Even if it was the Knights being a little over aggressive, take what you can get and punish accordingly.
Now look, if they're going to give you this space, you have to take it and take advantage of it. Vic goes very high to the sky, but doesn't end up committing too much there, but they do manage to take out Wade at the start of this. And Evie again on this Bastion. This has been where the Rhonda have found their successes, but not quite this time. Looks like they are being pushed back just that bit more. And yeah, this is where the charge show comes through. It's terrifying to see. When the Knights get rolling, they just run through the team.
It's very much a kind of stop, go, stop, go, is how the Knights kind of play. They're so happy to just chill back, sit there, and the minute there's an execute, all of a sudden all 5 of them are there. The minute there's any gap or damage that's been done, the Knights, they just seem to have their target prioritization really down. Like we've seen Evie in particular, like kind of shooting at Tao, gets quite a bit of damage and maybe moves on to Kermie, maybe like starts kind of shooting at Vic because Vic starts getting in the way. But anyone in the Knights, if you flick between the 5 POVs, they're all shooting the same person in Rhonda.
Yeah, and now we're seeing another one of these plays coming out from Rhonda. They've taken another nice angle in. Can they find any opportunities? We're watching along with Evie, of course, who's been the majority of the damage dealing from Rhonda here. Still hanging around those points and still have the ultimate in the pocket, though, saving it for the best opportunity they've got. They've chosen it now. This might be a bit too late for Rhonda as Kermie picking up those kills, and Tismani isolated and killed off on the point. And then we just watch as the death ball of the Knights run through, and there's Dorklings falls down last. Great defense there from the Knights.
Beautiful stuff from them. One thing, to be honest, we haven't really mentioned it too much, honestly, just because there's not really been much of a chance to do so. The ultimate usage from both teams has been pretty solid. The Knights especially, just, you know, they're happy. They don't seem to throw the kitchen sink. You know, they've always got kind of one or two things ready. Witty obviously now getting the copy, the clone ultimate, which is going to be popped basically immediately. Here we go, now falling down onto Rhonda Rising. But meanwhile, Rhonda Rising, they don't really have much to work with anymore. Dorklings is going to be coming online, but I imagine by the time Dorklings comes online, I think that health bar is going to be lower. It's overtime, it's only one standing, and that's going to be us.
That is it for that first push, but that's a pretty good push for Rhonda Rising. You know, it's a point and a half or so, and you know, it felt like there were a lot of the space they were almost given by the Knights, but they still had to take that opportunity, right? It wasn't, you know, it wasn't that you can just sort of let the payload get pushed forward. You had to really work for that, and Rhonda now have an opportunity. They have something to hold on to, right? You can fight. You can lose the first point even. You still have plenty of space to work. And this is the first time we've actually seen Rhonda with something to defend. You know, up until now, it's just been, you know, basically a no score from them, and the Knights just walked in, taken that first point, and just won the game from it. But now, you know, like I said, they have something to defend. They have multiple choke points to work with. You know, you've got lives in the tank if you are Rhonda here to make something happen. So yeah, really excited to see if they can pull it off, basically. And now, you know, Gauntlet's thrown down to the Knights. Like, you've had fun, but can you put another push together to actually see this set out?
Can you indeed? We're getting the comps now coming through. Rhonda, pretty standard. We've got Evie back on the defensive side, Bastion this time instead of the attack, obviously. Tismarni back on the Ursa, so no real surprise there. Dorklings even jumping onto the Symmetra. The Knights, pretty standard, to be honest. A bit surprising not to just see Vix on something else other than Winston, when Vic has just been so terrifying on that Winston. Witty Weeb then, you know, just happy to kind of sit back with the Widowmaker and just try and get some shots put through. We'll have to see how this goes.
Well, Witty Weeb, let's see what you can do on this sniper, of course. And it looks like Knights going for a bit of a play on their own, making their way up this hill. Want to get really deep in the backline of Rhonda Rising. The hook comes through straight onto that Bastion, but not really succeeding. However, they have got onto the backside with Medic there, and that's a really big kill to pick up. And this is how you break a choke point. You don't even let it establish. Good play from the Knights. They've found their window, and, well, we asked if they could execute, and oh yeah, they can.
Oh yeah, they can. As Tismarni, in fact, executed by Medic. The payload now just going to be chugging along very nicely. Quite a bit of good distance already covered, and here we go. The setup's already there for Medic, already sitting there at the door waiting for Rhonda to kind of push back through, and just this ability that the Knights have had to simply you know, just continue these pushes and to isolate anyone. I mean, they didn't get too caught up with Evie. They were happy to, you know, get the hook on the Vic. Evie gets hooked by Vic, pulled away, and then all of a sudden it's Maddie and it's Waiter the first to fall.
Great hook coming through there, but didn't actually manage to take weight down, and can't heal, gets hacked from the heal as well, but still manages to find a window. Just Roadhog things happening right there, and now with the Knights keeping their tank alive, they can just continue this push onward. And yeah, Rhonda struggling now to get a foothold, but like we said, Dante, they do still have something to defend. This first point might be lost, but they can still hold on the second point.
Absolutely. It's not over. Overwatch for Route 66, one of those maps is very much kind of a just not over until it's over. Oh, speaking of, Evie nearly actually going toe to toe with Tao, and Tao's been pretty terrifying. By the way, say that 5 times fast, toe to toe with Tao. See how far you get, and please let me know. But yeah, we've seen Tao doing just incredible stuff with the Zenyatta. So the fact that he was able to nearly take that fight off, Tao having to disengage, but the rest of the team basically have fallen in this time, and now that is a team kill, and the payload yet again has been forgotten about.
Hey, look, this is all good news for Rhonda Rising that you actually, despite giving up a team kill, it seems to be when the Knights get a team kill, they don't care about the objective, they just want that team kill accolade. But yeah, now Vic are gonna very slowly and almost sulk on the payload. As they don't get involved in the engagements, and you see there the pressure coming out. Witty Weeb just sniping through the corridor. You have Tao as well, firing off into and like you said, establishing a choke point for the Knights. It's something they've done to so much success. And Witty Weeb firing off, gets the ultimate out, doesn't care. The Dorklings has their own ultimate. They're just going to take them out. And now the payload very, very close to where it needs to go. There's only 2 members of Rhonda Rising here. Make that 1, soon to be 0 as well. What a great push from the Knights. And if the first game wasn't a statement, this whole set is definitely a statement. The Knights need to be looked out for. Wow, what a set from them.
Yeah, what Dark Horse out of nowhere. The Transcendence never popped for any reason other than to celebrate your victory. Getting that big shining light as a celebration for it. Incredibly well played from the Knights, to be honest. Just incredibly cohesive. Yeah, we're going to be seeing some beautiful shots here. Witty was just terrifying. I think this is... Oh, it's not actually. I thought it was going to be when the EMP got shut down, but it is not. Just this space taken, and that's 1. And we'll find... Oh, no, he's lost. Oh, there.
Look at that. Wow.
I mean, it doesn't look like Witty really misses. And, get a shield and get behind that shield as fast as possible that's going to be my takeaway from this.
Yeah, definitely going to be seeing a lot more shields up against anyone who's coming up against the Knights. They like we said, they just played really, really well. New to the scene for this, and really, really strong. And very excited to see how they shape up against the other teams. We do have obviously the other game that was being played right now is Wolfhounds and Puffins, which we believe should be a bit of a closer matchup than this one was that we just saw. So that means I'd love to see whoever comes out on top of that game up against the Knights as well. It's certainly a lot to be excited for, especially with such a short format. It's a shame that we didn't get the signups we wanted, but that does still mean that we get to see some really, really intense matchups. And the road to the final is not that far.
No, it's really not. So it's a 3-4 weeks, if that. It's going to be quite a short, quite a snappy, concise little series. Kind of went to death over about. So just in terms of it, obviously, the Knights do seem to be a hell of a bet to put on. Absolute dark horses so far. Incredibly good stuff from them. So keep an eye out on them. Rhonda Rising, I'm sure, got a lot to work with, they've got a lot to work on, but they have a lot to work with.
Yes.
So we will be, I'm sure, seeing quite a drastic improvement as we move on from there. Wolfhounds versus Puffins is going on, but it will not be on stream. That will be it. So we'll have the results and stuff then, obviously, just posted up for you all. But to be honest, that is really going to be it from us. Priestley, any last words? I need to reword that. That sounded sinister. That sounded like a threat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way.
It's like I've got someone, one of the DPS players from the Knights looking over me. That's when you give your last words. So I'd say my last words on it is, if you are going to play against the Knights, you need some walls and you deal with the DPS and let Vic do his thing, because hopefully he can find some opportunities, but it's not going to be easy at all. And really excited to see more games from the Knights, and I wonder how far they can go.
No, I absolutely do, but you know what? We will discover that together, I'm sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be the same time next week. Of course, the games and the fixtures and such will come out just as they do. But until then, it has been an absolute phenomenal time. Priestley, thank you for joining. I can't wait to do this again. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us as well. It's been an absolute blast. And we will see you very, very shortly for some more WEL 6.